Hi guys, welcome to today's tutorial. We're going to be making a chunky bonnet. I am obsessed, but we're just going to go ahead and jump into our materials. Today we're going to be using Wool Ease Thick and Quick yarn by the Lion brand. It's a 6-weight super chunky yarn, and this is a 170 gram ball, but we only need 140. And that's the color Succulent. We'll also be needing a 10mm crochet hook, measuring tape, a stitch marker, and a pair of scissors. So let's go ahead and get started. So to get started, we are going to be making a slip knot. Place the yarn over your hand, wrapping it around our index and middle finger, pulling it behind, securing with our pinky, taking our crochet hook and going under that first loop, pulling the second loop, pulling it tightly and secure, and we'll get started from here. From here, we're going to be chaining 12. So to make a chain, we're going to yarn over, pull through our loop, yarn over, pull through that loop. And we'll just keep going on for a total of 12 chains, and make sure to double check your count. Okay, now that we have reached a total of 12 chains, we are now going to be double crocheting into this chain, skipping the first 2 stitches, skipping these 2, and we're going to be placing our double crochet into this third space. So to double crochet, we are going to yarn over, insert our hook into that third, go ahead and pull up a loop. Now we have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over again to pull through those last 2 loops. That first chain does not count as a double crochet, so we're just going to continue on. Again, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through those first 2 loops, yarn over again, and pull through those last 2. And then we will be doing a total of 8 double crochet down this chain until we get to the last chain. Now that we have made our 8 double crochet, again that first chain does not count as a double crochet, we are going to be working into this last stitch 4 times. So we're going to be placing 4 double crochet into this last stitch all together. So there's 1, we're going to do another double crochet, there's 2, three, and 1 more into that same stitch. Pause. I had completely forgotten to mention this during filming, but please place a stitch marker at the top of your last double crochet that you made right here. That will help us in the next round. Alright, now we have 4 double crochet into that end there, and it's going to round, and we're going to work along this chain right here with an additional 8 double crochet. So for this chain, it's a little difficult to see, but if you shimmy your finger in there and make some spaces, you can see each stitch. So again, double crochet along this chain 8 times. Now that we have made it to the end here, don't forget that last double crochet, and again that first chain that we made does not count, so go ahead and count everything. Should be an equal 8 across. It's gonna look a little silly with that bump, but from here we're going to be chaining 2 and turning our work. From here we are going to be placing another row of double crochet across up to this corner where there should be a stitch marker. Again, I apologize for not doing that while filming, but I was just too excited to get started. So go ahead and start your double crochet along, and we will get down to the end where that stitch marker should be. Now we have made it to the end where it starts to round. We have one more double crochet to place before we get to where our stitch marker should be. And we have those 4. Into each stitch above, we are going to be placing 2 double crochet into each. So it should be a total of 8 double crochet along this corner here. So again, double crochet 1, and again into the same stitch. So now we have 2 double crochet into that same stitch, and we'll continue on again with 2 into the next stitch 3 more times for a total of 4 clusters, if you will, of 2 double crochet into each stitch for a total of 8 stitches. Alright, we have made our last double crochet, so it should be nice and rounded here with 8 total double crochet, and we are going to be placing a stitch marker this time. Not going to forget it. So go ahead and place a stitch marker there, and that will help us when we make our round again. So from here we're just going to continue on with double crochet to the end. Just 1 double crochet in each stitch. We have made it to the end of our row, and we're going to chain 2 again. So 1, 2, and turn our work over again. And we're going to be double crocheting up to this stitch marker. So placing 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way up to this marker. So now we're here, we're going to remove that, and we're going to be placing 2 double crochet into this stitch. So 1 and 2, and then into the next stitch we're going to be placing 1 double crochet, and that will be our pattern right here for this increase. So 2 into this next, and then 1 into the next one. So 2, 1, 2, 1. And this increase pattern will be done for a total of 4 times. So here is that increase pattern. So we have 2, 1, 2, 1 of those double crochet, and then I just have 1 more to finish that pattern, but we're going to be double crocheting across for finishing this row. So now that we've made it to the end, we are going to be chaining 2 and then turning our work. And now we're going to just be placing a single double crochet into each stitch all the way around. So we're done with our increases, and now we're just going to keep going around, and we're going to be doing a total of 4 rows of just 1 double crochet into each stitch. So we will just be double crocheting all the way around and then chaining 2, turning our work, and then double crocheting around again, chaining 2, turning our work for 4 times. Now that we have finished all of our rows, we should have that 3 increase and then 4 just plain double crochet all the way across for a total of 7 rows for the hat. And from here, we're going to start our ribbing. So we're going to be chaining 4, 3, and 4. And then from here, we are going to be single crocheting into this chain 3 times. So to single crochet, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops, and then into that next chain, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, and 1 more. And then we are going to turn our hat. We're framing the face. So we need to work on this side and attach our ribbing. We're going to skip this first stitch and work into these next 2 with slip stitches. So 2 slip stitches. We're just going to be inserting our hook, pulling through all the way. And again, pulling through all the way for 2 slip stitches, and then turning our work. So for this next part, we are going to be placing 3 single crochet into the back loops only. So not inserting our hook all the way into the bottom, but into that back V. So right here. We're skipping that first stitch and going to the second, into that back loop, not underneath, but this back V. Single crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through. Again, this is going to be 3 single crochet into the back loop only. Onto the second one, single crochet, and then into that third. And then we are going to chain 1 and turn our work so we can work back down into that back loop continuously. So this is going to be our pattern going forward with the ribbing. Back loop only 3 times. Again, single crochet. And this is the hardest part, I would say, of the hat. You've got this kind of awkward way to hold it, but you'll get used to it as you go. So we're going to turn our hat, and to attach the ribbing again, we're going to skip that first stitch directly underneath and slip stitch into the next 2. So we're just going to keep on moving along with our ribbing and attaching with those 2 slip stitches, turning our work, and then working back down 3 at a time. Back loop only, single crochet 3 times all the way around to frame the face. Now that we've reached the end of the ribbing, we just have 2 more slip stitches to go. Kind of looks like we just have 1, but it's really important to get these last 2 in. You kind of need to shimmy your way in and figure out where that last slip stitch is going to go. But again, this is super important to have the shape right for the ribbing. And we're going to just work our way back down one last time for those 3 back loop only single crochet, so we can start the neckline. Now that we have made it to the end of our ribbing, we're going to be chaining 1, turning our work around so that we can work single crochets along the neckline. So we're going to skip this first stitch and then go into the next with a single crochet, and then find the next best area that you think would be for your next single crochet. This is kind of a guessing game at this point, but you want to make sure that your single crochets aren't too far apart, unless you want the neckline to be snug. It will kind of scrunch up if you have your stitches too far apart, so use your best judgment. And we're just going to single crochet all the way around to the other edge of the neckline. Once you do make it to the back side of the bonnet, you're going to have this big bump here from those first chains. You just want to put a single crochet in the top of that and then pull together to the other side, and it'll make it nice and clean. And then again, we're just going to keep going all the way around. Once you make it to the other end of the neckline, we're going to get in our last few single crochets and get it all the way to the corner. And then we're going to start a tassel. So for our tassels, we are going to be chaining a total of 51 chains. So to chain, we're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and just continue on for 51 chains. You might need to place a few markers as you go. That could be helpful to keep your count. And we will get to the end here. Now that we have made our full chain and triple checked our count, we are going to be working back down it with slip stitches. So into each chain, we will be inserting our hook, pulling up a loop, and then pulling right through that other loop. We're just going to keep working back down into each stitch or chain with a slip stitch. Now that you've made it down to the bottom of your chain, you just have your last few, and then we are going to start single crocheting into the bottom of the bonnet, skipping that first stitch, and into the second we're going to single crochet all the way across the neckline. Once you made it back down to the end, make sure you get your single crochets as close to the edge as possible, so you can kind of see it looked like we were done, but there's one more single crochet to get in there for a nice clean line, and we're going to start our next tassel. And now we're just going to go ahead and make our next chain, and which will be again a chain of 51. Now that we've made our full chain and double checked our count, we're going to be slip stitching all the way back down the chain to the bonnet. So we just got a few more stitches here to slip stitch through, and then we're going to flip our hat to attach the tassel to the bottom neckline and skipping that first stitch again, but this time we're going to be slip stitching into the bonnet 2 times. So instead of the first round with the single crochet, we're just going to slip stitch 2 times, and now we can go ahead and grab our scissors and cut that yarn and give it a little bit of room so we can work with weaving it back in. So go ahead and just pull that through, and then we're going to flip our hat and take a good look. A little teaser that we have done it. We made a full bonnet, but first we need to weave in these 2 ends that we have. So we'll just go ahead and start on the inside. To weave in our ends, we are going to grab our crochet hook, which will be so much easier than attempting a darning needle. We're going to shimmy under these little hoops here, Might be a little tricky at first. But once we do, we'll just grab our yarn, pull through, and then we're going to pull through again. You might have to do that a couple of times. So now we're going to go ahead and get a knot on here. So we're pulling back through again, the same loop, and then pulling up the loop with our hands, kind of making a little loop that we can tie into. Give it a nice tight pull, and then we're going to weave it in just a little bit more. And then we'll just pull that through, grab our scissors, give a little bit of space, not come super close to the hat, and then we'll give it a little tug and it'll kind of work its way back in. So there's the first loose end, and then we have one more. So for this one, we want to make sure that you're weaving in the inside of the bonnet. So we're going to turn that over and work on the inside. And again, we're going to grab our crochet hook, pull that through a couple of times, and again, just use your best judgment in where you want to put it. This is kind of up to you. And we will put a knot in it and continue to weave it through a little bit more, and then we'll be all done. Now we can go ahead and cut off this last end, give it a little tug, and you are done. I almost forgot, but if the sizing is a concern to you, grab your measuring tape, and it should be about 8 to 8.5 inches wide, or 21 to 22 centimeters. And then the height should be about 9 inches, or 23 centimeters. As for the tassels, to measure them, you can just fold them in half and add on, but it should be about 10 to 11 inches long, folded in half, or 26 to 28 centimeters. And there is your beautiful bonnet. It is so adorable. I am obsessed, to be honest. I hope that you are too. We have the nice rounded back, and here's the other side. We've got the beautiful ribbing and long tassels. It's got quite the stretch to it, so it's super comfortable and super warm too. But that is it. That is the finished bonnet. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and I hope that you made one yourself. Leave me a comment letting me know if you did and maybe what color you chose. I will also have a written pattern linked down below. Other than that, thanks for watching and happy crocheting!